Hey everyone, Lauren here, and we're using the July kits to make some awesome layouts. So I've got this pattern paper here that's got all the triangles on it that Vicky Budin has created for us, and then I am just quickly trimming it down. You can definitely use your trimmer so that if you wanted perfectly straight lines, but I figured because it's not so big that I could get it straight enough with my scissors, so just chopping them down. Sort of like batch cutting. One cut the long ways, then cut them all into short, then cut them all into triangles. Sort of keeps your brain in track, but also then keeps them in order. You're not messing up and having some cut and some not. So I've decided I would use them to make a heart, and I am going to then make a couple other layouts with this same pattern paper using these triangles. So check out the next videos because I make two other layouts using the triangles in different formations. So once they're all cut up, I then just start to piece together the heart. Now it's obviously going to be different depending on the size of your triangles. The size of these triangles were already as part of the pattern paper. You could definitely use your own pattern paper, multiple scraps or something like that, to get some different colors on the page with the triangles. And in fact, I might scrap lift these layouts using some of my stash to see how they all come together. So you can see here, quite easy how it all comes together. You just make the 3 squares and put the 2 triangles up top, put the 1 square in the middle on the 3rd row, and then the 2 triangles to make the side of the triangle heart, and then that bottom piece there, which for me is too big, so I'm going to have to cut it when I stick it all down. I then having to think about what photo I'm going to put, and I'm thinking that I'll put this photo here and I'll put it to the right, and therefore I've glued down my heart more to the left rather than the right. So you saw there that I just lined up and put a little pen mark on that triangle down the bottom before cutting it, and that way it fits in the perfect size to finish off this heart. So I just used double-sided tape to stick it all down. I didn't bother with double-sided tape or glue or anything like that, and that way it's all flat and it's all stuck down. I am of course going to add some mixed media onto it because it wouldn't be a layout of mine if it didn't have mixed media on it. Actually, that's not true, but most of my layouts have mixed media on it, especially when we get some awesome colour of acrylic paint and these cool Vicky Budin stencils in the mixed media kit for July. So that was begging to be used a million times over, and in fact I have. So I'm just putting this gold acrylic paint through the random dot circle stencil, just a bit down the bottom, a bit up the top. I think the most of the bottom bit gets covered, but it's there. Sometimes, like, I'm not someone who plans everything out to the little details, so it's not going to take too much paint. I've already squeezed it out, so I'm not wasting paint, but it's always good to have it there rather than going back in and adding it later. I'm going to just move on to working out what photo I'm going to use and then what embellishments and title I'm going to chuck on there after I just give this a quick wipe down. So I've got that photo of Ollie on his bike. It's just Christmas, I would say. It's either Christmas Day or not far after it. When we all got bike for one Christmas a few years ago, and he learnt to ride on Christmas, which was a bit cool. It was, yeah, you can tell he's a bit older than I guess most children learn to ride a bike, but that's cool. He, rode a trike and all that kind of stuff as a little one, but we didn't have proper bikes for a long time. Anywho, you can see he's such a poser that's what this photo is so cute and just had to be documented. So I'm going to add some photo layers behind it so that my photo can stick up off the heart, because there's a lot of colour going on in the heart. We want to make sure that my photo is still visible and not hidden. So I'm just first going to add some white cardstock for a background matte, just full way around, and then I'm going to add this dark blue to black ombre piece that I've got left over. Just using the brand new detailed tweezers that I got out of the Kitaholic Kit shop. I saw them there. I think she's got another type of tweezers as well, and I knew I needed them. So I've pulled them out. Now you can see, well, hopefully you can see that I haven't done a full mat with that paper, and I'm not going to do a full mat with the other colours as well. So I'm just going to add some of this to the side here, just adding in more of that bright colours and some more detail. And I like to have the first mat, which is usually white or black, but sometimes pattern paper, to be a full 4-side round, and then the other pattern papers and doilies and all these kind of things to just either be 2 sides, 3 sides, 1 side, sometimes 4, but often not so. So you can see here, this one's really 2-sided, and I'm just using the scraps that I've got of the pattern paper that I've got in the kit, and I love this pink colour. It is so bright, but also the pattern is just very lovely. So I'm just going to add some of that on there, and that's just going to really make it pop off the heart. And I'm just going to cut that side and then rip it here. Now remember, if you're new, maybe you're not remembering, it's new to you, when you're ripping paper towards you, you're not going to have the white edge, but if you're ripping it away from you, you're going to have that white edge. I toyed with the idea of using some of these 4x6 cards, and they have not yet made it on a layout, so I have to think about maybe a Project Life or some kind of grid style or something to get them used, because I like them, and I think that's partly why I haven't used them. Anyway, so I pulled out the leftover punchinello that I've got, and that's going to add another layering piece to separate it from the heart, and then I went around each of the triangle pieces to highlight them even more with a black pen. So have a little think about whether I want to have a border. I did think about using the pen as a border, but then I thought maybe I need some more pattern paper, and that's what it needs, to have some more colour surrounding it. So I've gone and looked at what full pieces of pattern paper I've got left, and I'm going to settle on this orange. So I'm just going to cut down, because I've stuck the heart to the left more, I could just cut it on the one side here. For the top and the bottom, it's pretty even, so I cut half of that thickness. I think I cut an inch off. So I cut half an inch from the top and half an inch from the bottom so that it was still centered. Now I'm going to cut the middle of this pattern paper out so that I can use either this side or the other side in another project. And thank goodness I did, because I really needed that for another project. So I'm just going to cut that off, cut off the branding strip, and you can see that way you get the border, but you also then get to use the pattern paper again. Now if you are a pattern paper hoarder and you've got multiple, you might not bother with that, and in fact sometimes I don't, and especially if the paper's really thin, it's always ideal not to. So a little trick, I've got the 4 strips of double-sided tape. I'm just going to fold down the edges and then fold them across diagonally so that they stick out from the side of the cardstock. Then you can position it, because you've only got those little sections sticky, and watch this. Push it down, and then you just rip out. Look at that. It's so much easier, and sometimes I've forgotten it for a little while, I reckon. So I was so proud of myself, and I'm still quite proud of myself that I remembered, because it makes it a lot easier. Now, with that border, pattern paper border on it, it looks better, like it looks like that's the way it's meant to be. So we're going to work on our photo now. It still needed something to separate it, so I've come in with this blue, because there was no blue on the right side of that heart. This blue then gave it that definition to pop off the heart, rather than blending in way too much. So I'm just going to chuck it there. I still want that pink rip side to the left to be the highlight, so I don't overlap it there. I'm going to glue this on, but I'm going to use some foam tape so that it lifts up off the heart and has a bit of a shadow behind it, rather than it being flat to the heart. So on it goes. Just going to use some wet glue. I was going to say white glue, but it doesn't really matter what colour. I don't know that there's clear, I guess. I don't know if there's any other wet glue that's coloured. I'm sure there is somewhere in the world. It's usually like there's those blue glue sticks, right? But I don't know about wet glue, other than clear or white. Anyway, that little triangle is sticking up, so I've glued him down, and I'm just going to hold that down for a second. The wet glue takes a moment to stick and dry, and then I'm going to work on embellishing. Now this looks very easily like you could just add a title and you can be done, but for me, I added a title and added a whole smattering of embellishments as well, because I couldn't help myself. I love this kit, and there is just too much in here to not use. So I'm using it all, and I'm using it proudly, and I'm loving the layouts. Sometimes I make some layouts with some kits or collections, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. But all of them, I've now made 8 projects, and I love them all. Love, love, love. So on goes the title. I just put one on the triangle, and then on the other one on the other triangle, so that they're next to each other, nestled in, but it highlights both of those triangles. I love these binder clips that Vicky Budin has put in her sticker packs and her embellishment die cuts. I really thought I'd struggle to use them, but I'm really loving, and I think I really want more. Like, it actually just is a perfect part of the collection indeed. So pulled out 3 butterflies, because 3 is a lovely number, and why wouldn't you use that when it's a tried and true design? Thinking about some flowers, but it overtakes what's going on, so instead I put a big camera on the layout. Isn't that funny? So I'm just going to nestle those butterflies back in there. It just gives me something, another little pop of interest to the embellishments. So I'm going to stick them down and think about these birds. They just because they're outside, that's where the butterfly and the birds come together, but the birds did not fit, so they're not going to stay there. So committing to these, on they go. And this butterfly here is from the pattern paper that I cut out for one of my other layouts. Now I've got a whole pile of these stickers, so we're going to work on what we can put here. So that circle sticker up the top, and then some word stickers down the bottom here, because you can't go wrong. And I love that little circle with the heart there. Now these paint splatters, I believe there's a few sticker sheets that were left over from last month that I put together because they were Vicky Budin. Now these paint little rings, I had no idea how I was going to use them, but I'm so glad I kept them and put them together with this kit, because they work perfectly here as a layering piece to these 3 little sections of clusters. That's another sticker sheet done, so off it goes. This sticker sheet has stuck and I can't get the stickers off, so instead I'm just going to cut them with the scissors to the desired shape and size, and I'm just going to use the wet glue to stick it down. I didn't cut it very well, so I've got to cut it again. Don't you just love that? So on it goes, and then I'm just going through. I wonder if I love these clips, and I really wondered if I could get another one on. There's these lovely clear stickers. So I'm going to add some of these flowers to those paint splatter little clusters underneath as a little layering pop of interest. On it goes. And it just finishes it off. I don't put it on that left one because the heart's under it and it doesn't need a big one, but I put a tiny little flower on a stem there, and then I add these little circle embellishments. I then find the sheet of gold leaves and add some of them to those collections. There's a few of these words just left, and they're a bit tricky to use these words now, and I'm really struggling, but really want to use those words on that sticker sheet. So here we go, just adding these gold leaves just for another pop of the gold to tie in that mixed media gold in the background. Not that you need to tie it in because it's gold. Gold stands on its own merit. I've needed foam tape there, so I've just stuck some in. Gold stands on its own merit. You don't need to have it matching in multiple places and blah, blah, blah. But if you do, it's always a bonus. So on it goes. And then just seeing what other stickers, if there were any others, making sure I've got enough leaves on there because you can't have enough leaves. We need like a whole sheet of those leaves, I reckon. And how many times can I say leaves in, 30 seconds? I'm just going to finish it off with this label sticker. I didn't want the banner part of it. So I cut it off and now I've got a rectangle banner. I'm just going to put my stickers away and add a little bit of journaling. Tell a lie, I'm going to add this little sticker. I saw it and thought it's going to fit in perfectly there, which it does. And then another one here before I put my journaling on. And it's as simple as that. So definitely get out and get creating. You can make this with the pattern paper that we got in the kit that has all these triangles, or you could definitely just cut up your own triangles and make the same thing and make make the heart background, and either go crazy with the embellishments like me and have it full on, or just have a small simple photo and a title like I said earlier in the piece where you could finish it off there. I'm just double checking that if there was anything else that I need, and here's a finished layout. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's layout process, and hopefully it's inspired you to get into your craft area and create. Have a good day, guys. Bye.